Hello, children of the Most High God. I am back with another word, beautiful people, and I have a beautiful word for you guys from your Father. This is coming from a dream that I had, and I want to share it with you guys. Now, as you know, test the spirit behind every prophetic word you receive and you hear, as well as bring the word back to the Lord in prayer to make sure this is pertaining to you in the season that you are in. Without further ado, so the Lord was speaking to me through a dream that I had, and I want to let you guys know that the season that you're in now, and again, it's not for everybody, but this is a year of restoration for a lot of people in the body of Christ. This is a year of restoration. God is restoring a lot. So when that happens, and when you also get closer to the promise, to the blessings that God has for you, you're going to experience like a lot of pressure. You're going to experience pressure, opinions. There's going to be like a lot of discouragement, even while you are obeying God. Okay. Now, don't be alarmed, believers, because that doesn't mean that, you did any wrong. It doesn't mean that you're in the wrong, going the wrong direction. That just means anytime you are close to a breakthrough, resistance always hits harder. And the enemy loves to attack the hardest when you're closer to breakthroughs. So openly extortion. So there are seasons when God is moving you, like he's moving you forward. Now, instead of peace, sometimes you feel noise. All right. There are a lot of times when you won't feel encouragement, but you'll hear many voices. Instead of clarity, you're going to feel crowded. So if that is you, and that is the season that you're in, or that is, I wouldn't even say the season that you're in, but that is what you've been experiencing lately, then this word is definitely for you. Now, keep in mind, not every crowded season is spiritual attack. Sometimes it is a transition with witnesses. Okay. So let's take a look at Psalms 23:5. It says here, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." Now, notice this, the table's already prepared. The presence of others does not cancel provision, right? God does not remove the crowd, He seats you, anyways, in front of them. So, a lot of you are transitioning and you're going through a transition where people are watching you. People are witnessing what God is doing in your life. People are seeing what it is that, God has been doing. A lot of these people have been already watching you, whether that's in the physical, whether that in social media. There's a lot of eyes on you, whether you realize it or not. But God has seated you and you don't need to scramble. So if God has seated you, you don't need to scramble. You don't need to look around. You don't need to move this place. Let him seat you where you're supposed to be seated and let those people watch. Okay? Because while you're transitioning, while you are moving into that promise, while you are stepping forward, being obedient, doing it what it is that God has called for you to do, there will be people watching. Okay? Okay? So he gives seats. God always also gives seats before he gives movement. All right. In a vision that I had, the room was very crowded. There was many people who were standing, right? There's a lot of people standing, and there were also many people who were watching. But there was a seat prepared with a child also held close. Now, a seat, this represents rest. All right. Also can represent position, covering, permission to pause. Ephesians 2:6 says, "And God rises up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realm." I'll say that again. And God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms. So before God sends you to do more, or to do assignment, he reminds you who you are. Okay. So if you're seated, stop acting like you're being pushed out because you're not. Okay. You're rising, you're elevating. Okay. And you're seated with the Father. So in this season, you're going to experience a lot. There's going to be eyes watching, but keep it grounded. Stay rested in where God has you planted. Stay planted where God has you because you're about to sprout. You're about to bloom. The promise, the blessings that God has over your life, they're about to flourish. They're about to show. They're about to come forth. So stay grounded and keep doing what it is that God has called for you to do. All right. Now, noise, it doesn't equal opposition. A crowded room does not mean hostility. It means attention. So when God begins to shift your life, there's going to be people that's going to notice you. You're going to have opinions. There's going to be a lot of opinions that surface. Okay. There's going to be people that you know close to you, friends, families, all kind of people who notice this, especially people if they've been already, watching you as well. Okay. Because when God begins to shift your life, it's something that's, especially when God is involved, it's going to be something unrecognizable, like something that people is unknown, like, because when God is in the midst of things, it's a supernatural move. It's not a move that, you know, is going to just be just something normal. Like, it's supernatural. You may have been at a place one point where you were homeless. Then all of a sudden, like, boom, out of nowhere, you got a brand new house. You got a house. I mean, people like, wait a minute, what? Like, that's something that's unrecognized. Like, somebody would sit here and be like, how did that happen out of nowhere? Like, you was just homeless on the street, no car, no job, no house, like nothing. Then boom, next week, God done got you a brand new house, car, everything. So things like that are things that people notice. Okay. So when God begins to shift your life, fear also projects. Questions increase. They're gonna be wondering, how did that happen? You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. People are gonna wonder, they're gonna notice. And then also it's fear. There's some people who fear of your success, who fear of you elevating, who fear of you doing better than they are, you know? But it's not about competition. This is the fact that you were obedient, the fact that you were doing what it was that God has told you to do. And then scripture tells us in 1 Corinthians 16:9, it says, because a great door of effective work has opened to me, and there are many who oppose me. So Paul did not panic. He did not retreat. All right. He did not label everyone as an enemy. He just stayed focused. And that's all you need to do, beloved. Stay focused. Don't get discouraged. When you see people with their different opinions, people with their discouragement, a lot of times too, people fear the very thing that you're doing. So that's a lot of time, that fear that they have, it speaks to you because they can't do it, or that's something that they have never done, or that's something that's unknown to them. So people are going to have opinions. They're going to be fearful of the unknown, right? I mean, and it's normal. It's something that, you don't have to react to. You just watch, observe, okay? Watching is sometimes more obedient than acting, like I just mentioned. Now, in a vision that I had, everybody was watching a game. They weren't playing, they were just watching. So this is a word for believers who feel pressured to react quickly. This is a season where God is calling you to observe what other people do. When you're while God's elevating you and transitioning you, you need to observe those around you, not react. You don't have to react to anything that they say, anything that they do. Just observe. Ecclesiastes 3:1, it says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. So watching, that's not being lazy. Watching is not it's not being lazy. It's not being, you know, like not doing anything. Watching is actually discernment. That's you tuning in to your higher self. That's you tuning into your spirit, to the Spirit of God. And that's you just observing what it is that's going on around you, observing what it is or how it is that people are reacting around you. So God is especially mindful of the vulnerable. All right. Now, again, I mentioned like in the vision, the youngest child was held close. So this also reveals God's heart. All right. So there's people around in a room. They were watching a game. Some were standing, some were sitting. You were seated, holding a child very close. So this reveals his heart. He sees your responsibility. Some of you are carrying children in this season. Some of you have responsibilities. Maybe you're carrying the weight of somebody else. But God sees that. Okay? He sees who you're protecting. He is not careless with what depends on you. There's people that depend on you, and God sees that. Isaiah 40:11, it says, He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lamb in his arms. God does not rush parents into chaos. So if you're a parent in this season that you're going through, God is not going to rush you into chaos. If it's chaotic, it's not from God. It's going to always come out with peace. He's going to settle you first. He's going to make sure that everything is taken care of before he puts you out anywhere. God will never take you somewhere where it's complete chaos, where you're scrambling around, you have children, you have ones that depends on you. He's not going to take you somewhere like that. That's not even like his character. God is a God of order, okay? Many families arrive late, but they are not enemies. And in the vision, I saw that there were other people, there were other families that were arriving in the room to watch the game as well. They arrived late, but they are not enemies. So some loved ones, they'll come in later. They may be searching for their space or where they fit in your life. They may ask you questions. They may feel unsettled, but that does not make them opponents. They're not your opponents. Romans 14:1 says, "Accept the one whose faith is weak without quarreling over disputable matters." So different timing does not mean different hearts. Just because you're on a different season as them, just because they're not in the same season, you're not on the same time as them, does not mean they're your enemy, does not mean that they are in opposed to you, vice versa. So you don't have to give up your peace to make others feel comfortable as well. All right. So not every disagreement is an attack. Not every crowd is an enemy. And not every delay is denial. Not every question requires an answer. If God has seated you, just sit, just rest, observe, protect what is in your care while you have it there. Let him manage the room. Hebrews 4:10 says, "For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their work." So you're resting as well as you have entered God's rest. That's all I have for you today, family. I hope this word blesses you. May God bless you. May he keep you and cause his face to shine upon you in this season. May you experience total restoration. And may God restore the years that the locusts have eaten. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay seated. Your movement, it definitely will come. God bless.